Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be talking about one of the barbarian pairs of boots. That's called 100,000 Steps. I always think of this song whenever I read this name. I would walk on. I can't sing it because copyright reasons. But the 100,000 Steps is a pair of barbarian boots that's kind of based around Ground Stomp and also the Walking Arsenal. So it's very specific to both Ground Stomp and Walking Arsenal. It has the evade grants 10% attack speed for 3 seconds passive, which is not something that has been seen on boots for a while. They've kind of been messing around with some of this stuff. So basically when you put them on and you evade, you just get a nice little attack speed bump for a short period of time. And you can see this reflected on your bar. You see my attack speed just goes up by 10% whenever I evade and then goes back down. It's actually kind of nice. It's not like super terrible. I think most people would have preferred like evade charges or something like that, or maybe evade charges and the evade grants 10% increased attack speed. But it does have a unique effect to give you the ability to attack faster. It also has 12.5 to 18% movement speed, which 18% seems pretty standard across boots at this point. On top of this, we also have 5 to 7% movement speed bonus per walking arsenal bonus, and of course there's 3 of those, so that's 7 times 3, which will give you a nice little movement speed bonus combined with the flat movement speed bonus that you get. So once you have all those walking arsenal bonuses active, you get the 3. So you can pretty much just... Of course, I'm completely out of Fury because I'm using Ramalani's and it's draining every single bit of Fury that I have. So as you can see, once we have all of our walking arsenal bonuses active, which isn't really too difficult, and we have the boots on, of course, we get some pretty nice movement speed bonus. Like, it's not terrible. Let's go ahead and just like get them all active again. It's decent little movement speed bonus, and that's reflected, of course, on our movement speed. So you can see we got 148.2 right now. I'll go ahead and get all my bonuses activated. Wrong button city over here. 160.9 at the moment, so not bad while they have the ab bonuses activated. On top of this, we also get a 46.5 to 60% ground stomp size, because of course this is a pair of ground stomp boots. However, it's also a walking arsenal pair of boots, so it's kind of both. I guess technically you could use this without the walking arsenal part, but then you'd just be missing out on an aspect. So, I don't know. The special effect on this is when activating or refreshing the full walking arsenal key passive effect, you automatically cast a ground stomp and gain 50 to 100 fury. Can only occur once every 10 seconds. So basically you just get a free ground stomp once every 10 seconds. I'm kind of a little bit disenchanted with this. I used to think it was kind of neat, but like I've also looked at boots like, for instance, Yen's Blessing, which Yen's Blessings are also pretty darn good. And do I not have any Yen's Blessings just lying around? Probably off-muled them because I'm running out of space. But Yen's Blessings can also just basically give you a free cast of an ability once every 8 seconds. So this is not even as good as Yen's Blessing. Except for the fact that, of course, that it gives you Fury when you ground stomp, which is nice. So when you automatically cast a ground stomp and you gain 100 Fury if you have a nice pair of these boots, which could be handy. You know, beefing up your Fury. Although a 100 Fury bonus every 10 seconds isn't as awesome as, you know, something that could potentially maintain your Fury generation. It's a little wonky, in my opinion, especially since it doesn't generate any Fury outside of it. Like, if it made it so that Ground Stomp generated that Fury just as, like, a standard, that would be kind of interesting. Ground Stomp already generates 60 Fury, by the way. So if you have the 60 Fury bonus as well, and we can pull some points here so we can put that in. If you have that, then you're going to get 60 Fury no matter what. And I'm pretty sure that also means that once you activate the passive, you probably get even more Fury back. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Let's test it real quick. So let me let my Fury drain away to nothingness. Which, it's not draining. Why are you not draining?
Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
There we go. Now it should be draining. The Ramalanis, you have to actually be using Ramalanis for the drain to be active, which is also very interesting. So if you were using it in like a walking arsenal setup and you attack with a different weapon, it doesn't drain while you're attacking with a different weapon. Alright, so we're just going to attack once with the ground stomp that I have, just to generate a little bit of fury. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, we got our ground stomp off, and we got a pretty large amount of fury back. It's an interesting effect. It definitely builds off of ground stomp, and if you're using ground stomp, it's definitely a way that you could potentially build off of ground stomp. I've never worked it into a build though myself, and I think it's really just because I haven't really been using Walking Arsenal all that much. Walking Arsenal is not a bad one. But it does require that you attack with basically 3 different weapons. So you're going to have to attack once with your big mace, you're going to have to attack once with your dual wield setup, and you're going to have to attack once with your two-handed sword or axe or whatever you have in that slot. Now there are ways that you can of course change this. So like when you're holding your mouse over a specific ability, you can of course choose which weapons that you want to use. Like for instance, if I wanted to take a look at upheaval, I could change upheaval between the sword and the mace, but I can't change it between like the dual wield, for instance. Double swing has to be dual wield, so there's no option. Flay is between the two-handed sword and the dual wield option. Hammer of the Ancients is only mace. Bash can be between just the big giant mace. You can also utilize for Flay, you can use the sword or the two-handed. Or the dual wield. Basically, any of these can be changed to specific options, and when you change them to specific options, you can get the Walking Arsenal buff. Even Leap can utilize various weapons. So as you can see here, you can use pretty much any weapon you want with Leap, and Leap could be a way that you could obtain your Walking Arsenal buff. So it's not like impossible to have the Walking Arsenal buff active at all times, especially since you could micromanage and control which weapon is used with which skill, and having multiple skills on the bar to obviously get access to it isn't terrible. The question is do you want to use these specific boots with your Walking Arsenal build? There are specific things that can be useful with this, like for instance, if you're using the aspect of the Bull Cathos, or the other one that causes earthquakes, your ground stomp will cause an earthquake, and that could potentially give you a multiplier once every 10 seconds. It's also going to increase your ground stomp size. So if you're using ground stomp natively as well, that's going to help out your native ground stomp by giving you a larger ground stomp as well. And you can see that just by simply using ground stomp. Get a larger ground stomp there. And in general, when it comes to these boots, they seem to be very hyper-specific. Not just hyper-specific on ground stomp, and not just hyper-specific on Walking Arsenal, but really hyper-specific to both ground stomp and Walking Arsenal. So if you're not using Walking Arsenal, and if you're not using ground stomp, you probably don't want to even touch these boots. If you are using Walking Arsenal, then maybe you could potentially utilize for the free ground stomps. And if you're using ground stomp, you could potentially utilize these for the ground stomp size bonus and the damage to stunned enemies and whatnot, which I think I forgot to go over the damage to stunned enemies, which is 82.5 to 105%. Overall, I never worked them into a build myself, to be perfectly honest. Now let's read the flavor text on these, which is, while many barbarians remained in the Dreadlands, small groups from the Oxen, Crane, and Bear tribes instead chose to search the land for a new home. A history of the children of Bull Cathos. Now, if you are looking to find these particular items, or pairs of boots, you can, of course, farm them, which is pretty easy to do. And I'm going to take you to the unique target farming tool, and you just go to Barbarian, and you go to 100,000 steps, and you'll see that they drop from Echo of Arshan and Beast in the Ice. So if you want to farm them, that is the place to go, Echo of Arshan and Beast in the Ice. That's pretty much it. I don't really much more to talk about with these. I'm curious whether any of you guys have actually utilized these in your builds. What did you use it for? Was it for the Fury generation? Was it for the free ground stomp? Was it to create earthquakes? I don't know. It's weird to me. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these videos, even when we're just talking about the 100,000 steps. And make sure you take 100,000 steps and hit that like button and the subscribe button. And as always, keep watching.